Imagine this. It's our inevitable cyberpunk future, neon lights, people meshed with tech, that drudgy smell of drugs and human filth coating every breath that enters your lungs. And like every other godforsaken person in this future, you're just trying to make a living. It just so happens that killing people is a big part of how you make the big bucks. Hey there, handsome. This is my monthly series where I talk about a random indie game that has caught my heart for the month. On the front page of this month's indie reviewer is Deadlink. In this cyberpunk world, you work for a corporation, specifically their security division, and it's your job to make sure that the shading dealings of Big Brother go off without a hitch, by any means necessary. The way you complete these tasks is by linking into a robotic body built to kill. There are different unlockable bodies for you to slay with, each having a different slew of abilities and grenade types, as well as having entirely different starting weapons from each other. For example, the first body you start with, called the Soldier, starts with a shotgun and grenade launcher, his abilities being a grappling hook, which feels pretty great to use, as well as a dispersion field that confuses enemies for a little while. The second body that you unlock being the Hunter, who starts with a revolver and this sick electric slicer gun that shoots a large crescent blade of energy that dices up those that it hits. Think like the Ballista in Doom Eternal. And the abilities on the Hunter are his phasing ability, which replaces the grappling hook. It leads to you swapping places between yourself and an enemy, leading to some cool moves you can do, like shooting an exploded barrel and then swapping places so that the enemy gets boomed instead of you. Secondly, you get an invisibility move, where it leaves behind a clone that tricks enemies and explodes after a short period. Essentially, pretty much off the bat, the game gives you two entirely different playstyles, which gives this game a great amount of replayability already, not counting the inherent RNG that comes with roguelites in general that give them their replayability. As that description probably already gives you the vibe of, I'm just gonna come out and say it anyhow. Deadlink is a stylish, fast-paced, butts-to-nuts ride of brutal kills and great ways to cause those kills. And if you enjoy boomer shooters or arena shooters in general, you'd be missing out by sleeping on this hit. As this action roguelite sends you into the streets of this metropolis, giving you those two weapons that can actually be swapped out as you play through the levels. Not unlike how Hades is set up, you enter a combat arena, and then after you commit absolute desolation, you have multiple options of doors to go through to the next combat arena, each door having a different kind of benefit, be it upgrades for your weapons, upgrades that activate when you use your abilities, or even entirely new weapons, as mentioned before. These newer weapons typically take the place of your heavy weapon, although you can later unlock more weapon slots for even more variety. But more than anything, this game just makes you feel like such a goddamn badass. Punching an enemy will coat you and your weapons with blood, adding to the visceral power of this metal machine you are inhabiting. You zip around, launching grenades and firing shells into the head of any that dare oppose you. A lot of this, like many arena shooters, is the movement feeling superb that helps make it really tick, and it really does shine through here in Deadlink. With its mass amount of upgrades that you earn from progressing through the normal game, and you lose them after dying, as well as some permanent upgrades that you get back at base, your time never feels wasted, which is a feeling that all the best roguelikes and lights manage to make you feel. That feeling of constant progression. It's that growth drip that hooks you into the game, and it's something that this genre in general does very well, but Deadlink does fantastically, as well as that strong addiction to kick some ass incredibly stylishly, which this game has in spades. Each grouping of combat arenas is up to 9 levels before you transition to the next setting, which has entirely new enemies and designs, requiring you to completely shake up your playstyle and approach these combat encounters much more differently. Not to mention the environmental design is so good. The slightly cartoony realism is so excellent for this setting, which allows the transition to a new setting to be a visual treat each time, assuming you take the time to look around. But with all those flying bullets and such, it can make that a little hard. Outside of combat entirely, you will find yourself at the main hub, where you can look at your average game codex and read up on some lore if you'd like, or talk to some NPCs who will not only give you some lore, but also sometimes some tips and tricks kind of mixed in with the lore with how to deal with certain enemies, which is pretty cool. And of course, this is where you will do all your permanent upgrades. This is your pretty average main hub stuff. So, in conclusion, Deadlink is a fantastic roguelite, merging the fast-paced arena style of Doom Eternal's combat with the RNG and replayability of a roguelite with that fantastic cyberpunk flair. It does everything at least good and everything else fantastically. If you enjoyed this video, do leave a lovely little like, and if you'd like to see more content like this, do give that subscribe button a good old pat with that metal cyborg hand of yours. I do videos like this one on indie games once a month, as well as other content I think you just might enjoy. But most importantly, have a goddamn wonderful day and don't die. And here you are sticking around again. Alright, so I haven't really watched any new movies in a little bit, but I am about to go see Evil Dead Rise in the next, tomorrow I think? Yeah, tomorrow. So I will let you know how that is in the next one. So, yeah. Alright, you have a good one. Don't you die. Handsome.